All right, United States Soccer, why are we doing this? Teams that have grown their history, getting a fan base, making connections in the community, and in for reasons, we go ahead and change it. It was announced just last week, Chicago Red Stars of the NWSL are going to change their name to Chicago Stars. And what do you think of that, Jason? Is this going to make Chicago's professional women's team, bigger in their market because they've taken the word red out of their name?
I can't see how. Can we see the change, the before and after for this logo? I mean, this obviously illustrates the change of names too. So before, Chicago Red Stars, reflecting the flag, right? The municipal flag of Chicago, right there with the stars. After, keeping that star, that red star, but dropping red. There's other design people have gone crazy over this because you're not even centered. The stars isn't even centered properly over the ball on that right badge logo. The explainer for this is hilarious. It says the ball, representing soccer. I think the dark blue represents land and the light blue represents Lake Michigan. It's so weird how they justify some of this stuff.
For those who don't know, the Chicago Red Stars are called that because Chicago has 4 red stars on their city flag.
Yes.
In
right.
2008, upon the creation of this team, they took a poll or a vote of, the fans got to vote for their team, and the clear winner and the most popular was Red Stars to represent their team. And so when asked why this change was being made, the Chicago's chief marketing officer, Kay Bradley, said, "People often shorten our name to Red Stars, and then the Chicago part goes away. So by removing red from the name, the short version will now become Chicago Stars so that we keep the connection to the city."
That's weird.
Does that justify any of this? I mean, this undoes like the chants and the memories and everything that's been built on for
I don't
14,
understand
15
that
years.
logic. You're saying it's so important for you to be identified as Chicago that you're changing the name of the team. Won't people, first of all, think about the people who have tattoos. Why aren't people considering all the tattooed soccer fans out there who now have a logo and a name on their body?
A dead brand.
No, it's dead. And now, what is that? Oh, that's the red. That's my soccer team. I don't ever heard of that team. Oh, that's because they changed their name. Nah, come on. This is atrocious. What this is. No, I think in terms of, I mean, it is bad on that level. I don't know. It feels like a lot of times this is, I mean, clearly this is overthinking, right? Clearly this is thinking that changing your name or changing your badge or changing your color scheme is going to somehow unlock a fan base that has never paid attention to you before. It's the only thing I can imagine. And it also clearly takes for granted the people who already support you. Right? It takes for granted the people who have tattoos or the people who have come out to your games and created the chants and created the banners and the tifo and done all the work. Right? Because those people are connected to who you are originally. And then you say to them, yeah, you don't matter as much to us. And look, there's always a way to say this is no longer modern. This is no longer the trend. This is no longer what people think is cool, right? That's what this is. Do you think that this name is cool or this logo is cool? Well, it's 2024 and we created that in 1998 or in 2008 or in 2015 and times have changed. So we've got to change. But that's not how sports are supposed to work. The most iconic symbol of America outside of our country, like when you travel, that you find around the world, Robert, do you want to guess what it is? The thing that you see most that connects to America when you travel? Give me one guess. I bet you can get close.
The pot belly on a tourist.
No, a symbol of sport.
I know, I'm joking.
Sports. Okay.
The American flag?
No, not the American. Like people wear this. Foreigners, not
New
Americans.
York Yankees hat.
New York Yankees hat. Bing, bing, bing. There it is. And have the Yankees ever been like, you know what we got to do? We got to change this. This is so old fashioned. What is this? The N and the Y, they're all weird and slanty. What were they thinking back then? We really needed to update this. The Yankees might like slightly change uniforms from season to season, but they're not messing with their history, right? Because they know it matters to so many people, and it's got this connective tissue that goes way, way back to, and you
You
can't
could go to
create
like
that.
Asia. You could be in the middle of rural China and you have a
Yes,
Yankees hat on. They could say,
yes,
"Oh, American
yeah,
Yankees."
and the only way to get to that, right? And this is true for, I mean, I remember when Juve did their rebrand and people freaked out. And maybe Juve has been proven right on some level because the J is definitely an easier thing to connect. Because what happens with Serie A is you end up going, is that Juventus or is that which one of the clubs is that? And then Bergamo, Inter, whoever it is, you're like Inter Milan has changed theirs too, right? They did a rebrand.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, can I tell what that is? Man, I don't know. I don't know. It's the name part of this that I think bothers people the most, right? Even more
Tweet.
than the logo.
Yeah, I was gonna say the tweaking a logo doesn't change the identity of the entire thing. They didn't call Juventus like the Juventus black and whites now or
Yeah,
something
you're
like that.
right.
They didn't
Yeah.
change the whole naming of it because while okay, so maybe they want to refresh the badge. The Red Stars badge might not blow anyone's hair back, but they did have. I covered the team for a couple years, like 2015, 2016. Followed them for season. They had great merch. Like their kits, their uniforms, all that stuff was great.
Why
And
would
then
you want to go from a name that is unique? I mean, I know there's Red Star Belgrade, right? And again, this definitely feels related to some sort of, oh, this is communist imagery. Red Stars are communist imagery,
but
even
if you
though
knew anything about Chicago, you wouldn't feel that way.
exactly. But this is again, this is them thinking globally instead of thinking locally, but then
Yeah.
thinking that the global is impossible. That's an impossible nut to crack with Red Stars, which is insane. Because again, even if people go, "Oh, Red Stars, what is that, a communist thing?" It's not going to if as long as I don't know. I just can't imagine that's going to keep you from having the success that you want more than changing your name, dropping the unique element of your name to go with something so generic that it makes me cry. Like it's sad that they are now Chicago Stars. I mean, what is that? That's nothing. That's if you were if you were thinking of, okay, like I want to create a soccer team in some random video game, the easiest thing to do, the simplest name, it takes no creativity, is to go Stars, right? They're just the Stars. I mean, I think I've played with that team in like different Nintendo games from my youth. Like that's it's
Yeah,
terrible.
there's across different sports and different levels of soccer itself, there are examples of teams being stars. In the United States, I can't think of another
It
Red Stars. And
Why
then
would you pay somebody to say, you know what you should do? Drop the red and just be the Stars. That's the way to go. That takes no creativity. It takes no innovation to do that. It takes, there's nothing in it. And again, you're stripping out identity that people are attached to. And even if you're imagining that you're scratching the surface on soccer fans who might care about your team, to go generic, I think turns more people off than it will get them through the door to say, yeah, I'm in for this.
yeah, you're overlooking the small but loyal fan base you've developed over the last 14, 15 years. You're already like looking past them, and then you're undermining what you've already built, sweeping that away. And then it's just, and then also when you're announcing this, you're announcing that the NWSL regular season is reaching its conclusion soon. And then
Yeah.
so I think the Red Stars have qualified for the playoffs, which they didn't do last year. So the team was, getting a little bit more successful this year than last. And then now they
Mhm.
have to perform as the Red Stars, knowing that their identity is being pulled from them during
Do you
all this.
think,
Maybe does it galvanize them?
yeah, do you think that this is also an attempt to clean up the history, the negative stuff that came with Roy Dames and all of that, and the previous ownership? I mean, this does feel like that too, right? That this is the current ownership group saying, the new owner saying, we don't want to be attached to that at all. And here's a way that we can feel without dropping every element of our history, every element of our identity. Here's a way to execute a clean break or something like a clean break
if
from
you're
that
gonna
period.
I think if you're gonna hire marketing firms and do research and hire people to refresh your brand and move forward, I think you could maybe highlight the great things that you have done. They've had some great players. They've had Kristen Presses. They've had Sam Kerr. They now have Mal Swanson. You could, I don't know, emphasize the positives of what you have and what you have done and who has been in that jersey in the past, rather than trying to almost play like a disappearing act. Like, oh, don't worry about that. That was yeah. So you sweep away, you're trying to get rid of the Rory Dames and the that whole era, but there are positive things about that. You built a fan base based on that era, and it doesn't make sense. And here's kind of a bit of a tongue in cheek. Maybe the Red Stars ownership and the boardroom folks wanted to get in on the bad Chicago rebranding, and like the Chicago Fire had so much fun with their rebrand of the rebrand of the rebrand. Maybe we need to get in on that. This is just to fire people up right now to get some more attention.
That is next level thinking. Like how meta are we now? Where it's like we're executing poor rebrands so that we can fix the rebrand, so that we can generate more attention that we would not have had unless we had executed a poor rebrand to start. The mind starts to turn and twist in different directions. I actually thought that a little bit with Boss Nation. I think I maybe mentioned that on the show when we talked about bad soccer team names last week, Robert, that what if this is all like performance art or some sort of attempt to do exactly what you said, that, hey, we're going to throw something so bad out there. Everybody's, not just soccer people, not just NWSL people, not just sports fans even, but this is going to make headlines in places we could never reach in any other way. And then we're going to be like, nope, joke's on you. We're actually changing it to something good now. I don't think that's what's happening with the Stars. Could still be happening with Boss Nation. I don't think that's what's happening with the Stars.
The flippant nature of it too, because you read through those answers and jargons of why they're doing it, doesn't nothing really lands. And then on the social media presence, I think it was Meg Linehan made the point of even the social media, like there wasn't like a banner graphic at the top with the new logos, and it was like off-centered, just like the logo itself is off-center. So if you're going to do this that affects so many people, but not actually do it well, just like Boss Nation, like you got everyone all excited, and this is like you hired people to do all this and put all this work into it, and that's the product. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, I guess it's a good job if you can get it to just put things out there, but not. Look, these marketing brands are making mint here.
If you need a bad rebrand, Morning Kick Around is here for you. Our experts. Our experts can help you execute a poor rebrand. Just hit us up, morningkickaround@gmail.com, and let us know what kind of bad rebrand you want to do. And Robert and I will put something together, like half an hour, right, Robert? Like half an hour we could do that.
I am definitely capable of making a bad logo on a graphic design editor.
Let's go.
All right.
I got a Canva Pro account. Let's go. Let's go.
I bet, put an hour or two into it. I bet you could, get the rebrand of the rebrand for the Red Stars going.
So let's do it.
Then we should, before leaving this topic, there was on top of the Boss Nation, the Seattle Reign undid their rebrand. Shouldn't let them. So Chicago or Seattle Reign became OL Reign last year, but at the beginning of this season returned to Seattle Reign.
Yes.
So there is a precedent for the undo of the redo.
But I think the Reign situation was mainly about ownership, right? That Leon had bought the Reign,
right,
and then changed them to OL Reign to line them, which makes no sense why you want to have this American club with the French reference. Doesn't make any. I mean, we know Lyon is a power in women's football in Europe. Yes, okay, but it just made no sense. And now going back to Seattle Reign, that is much better. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, but there is. You're right, but that's the thing. Like, stop changing it.
Just be who you are.
Well, it's again, this is the thing of new ownership, new management justifying some things or finding things to do or wanting to find a way to break or to establish their reign, right? Not to double up on the Reign references, but basically to make it feel like, hey, we're in charge now, and this is how things are different. And not only are things different with our on the field product or our in stadium experience or whatever else we think we're bringing to the table, but you will have a visual cue that this is different. And I just, I will say Joe Mansueto was wrong. I think the Fire were wrong when they executed their really bad rebrand and had to backtrack and find Matthew Wolf and fix it. But one thing they said was people get used to things and they get normalized. And that is true, right? Eventually you start to stop caring that the Utah Jazz are the Utah Jazz. Like you just kind of accept that that's a weird connection. Like what does Jazz have to do with Utah? Nothing, but they made it their own, right? They threw mountains on the logo, and now they're. But so I don't know, like that thing of like trusting that fans will adapt, that the marketplace will adapt, that people will accept you, that kind of even being quote unquote bad on the surface can be a strength in the end, that you can turn that weakness into a strength. That's what these clubs need to be doing, because one thing American soccer is extremely bad at is trusting ourselves.
Yeah.
To actually just be what we are. As a sports culture, as a soccer culture, ours can be different. You don't have to slap FC on everything because that somehow gives you European cachet. First of all, it doesn't. Second of all, just be who you are, and your fans will find you if you win games, if the product is good, if the experience is good. Period.
Yeah, being comfortable in your own shoes, being comfortable with naming yourself after something you may or may not agree with. Yeah, Luke hopping in the chat, but I love the beautiful lakes of Los Angeles. But they had the confidence to just rock with it. They didn't have social media having people yelling at them.
That wasn't confidence. That was just like, we're too cheap to change anything. We still have these uniforms from Minnesota, so we're just going to keep wearing them. And then eventually people in Los Angeles are like, yeah, man, the lake show, it's awesome. That's how that's supposed to happen. Like, stop. Just trust yourself, please. Or trust the brands. Trust the names. Don't call them brands, first of all. Trust your identity. Believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Soccer, believe in yourself.
I like that. That's a good note to end on.